Okay, welcome to the reading, the group Tarot with Titania reading for May 8th, 2020. I'm just going to take a minute, put your feet flat on the floor, and take 3 nice deep breaths with me, please. I'm just envisioning a tree root coming down out of the base of your spine, rooting you deeply into the earth. Understanding that that is a conduit for anything that no longer serves you to easily and effortlessly leave your field and go down deep into Mother Earth. Releasing all that old stuff into the soil deep below us so that it can be compost for new growth and new life to help fuel the visions that we will talk about today. Creator, this is your daughter, Titania, and I'm about to do a reading for the highest and greatest benefit of all concerned. My intention is to be a clear channel for the information that everyone on this call and who will be listening to it in the future most needs to receive right now, to provide that to them in a manner that they will easily and effortlessly hear, understand, and integrate for their highest and greatest benefit, and the benefit of their families, their communities, and this beautiful world at large, with all its lovely creatures. I invite my higher self and the higher selves of all those who are on this call, both now and in the future, to be present to facilitate this exchange and ensure that it happens in the highest and best way possible. I also like to invite an overlighting angel of communication to just ensure that we all express ourselves clearly, coherently, and well, so we hear each other, understand each other, and are easily and effortlessly able to pull through from the divine, from source, the information that is most needed today. I'd also like to invite the 4 archangels to come and hold the 4 directions around us, creating a sacred space of healing, wisdom, enlightenment, empowerment, celebration, joy, all the good things that are in our collective heart and mind at this time. I invite Raphael to hold the east, Michael to hold the south, Gabriel to hold the west, and Uriel to hold the north. Thank you for creating this wonderful, sacred container for our reading across time and space. We set the tone for ease, for upliftment, for joy, for celebration, for all the good things, and anything that doesn't match the frequencies that we are holding in our heart is welcome to go now. Let's begin. Okay, so what we're curious about today is our vision, our individual vision and our collective vision. We've just been through this amazing time of withdrawal from the modern world of our usual cycles for most of us. Most of us have been isolated and at home. And it's given us an opportunity to reevaluate who we are, where we are in our world. It's given us an opportunity to see the things that are important, to see the things that really speak to us and that resonate in our hearts, and those elements which are important that we want to carry forward. And we've also gotten clear about a lot of things that aren't important to us or are less important, or we realize they could be done differently. And so I'm really curious and inviting those on the call today to speak of your vision, to speak of the dreams that you've had in this time, the thoughts and the wonderings and those visions that are stirring your soul and inspiring you and leading you to feel hopeful and positive for our collective future and for an immediate future. I'm just going to start by doing a 3-card spread on past, present, and future around this idea of vision, this collective vision. And then we will go into questions and just go from here. It's an organic process. And as I said, I really want to hear from both participants today about their visions, about what's inspired them. So let's start with this reading and then we'll go into those visions. Okay, so past, present, and future. What do we need to know collectively? Okay, so here we come from the card. The recent past is the card of judgment. And this is the second to last card of the major arcana. When you get major arcanas in tarot, they're really pay attention cards. They have to do with soul growth, evolutionary cards, things, important steps that bring us further along in life. And this card is sitting in the recent past, which means the influence is waning, but it continues into our present and into our future. And what's really great about the judgment card is that it's about not judgment in the context of making another wrong, but judgment in the context of discernment, of deciding and evaluating what is most important and relevant for us, what is true for us, what is important for us. We're each unique individuals, each having a unique experience on this planet, and it's very important for us to recognize that there is not a one-size-fits-all for all of us, that we're each here to have different experiences, we're each here to interact and learn different things, and that celebration of that uniqueness and that diversity is really what makes us so strong and resilient as a species, as communities, and is one of our strengths as humanity. So this is sitting in the space of the recent past, which means, as we were talking about, this time of evaluation, of discernment, of getting clear about who are we and what's important to us, that I was just talking about. This card is really about the higher level of this greater awareness, this greater self-awareness, and the empowerment and peace and direction that comes when we learn to discern this for ourselves and discern our path forward, not prescribed by someone else's idea of what that needs to be, but by our personal intention, our personal vision, our understanding of who we are and what's important to us, and letting that be our guide as we move ourselves forward in life. So that's, as I said, recent past. The present card, and we've seen this one before, this card of competition. It's the Five of Wands. Now, wands are about creativity, inspiration, and passion. And you see these two people, they're facing off. They're sort of standing in the same space, sort of in each other's face, as it would be, as you can see. And so this idea of there being almost like an adversarial quality to this card. There's a lot of inspiration here. As I said, wands are creativity, inspiration, passion. It's the suit of fire. It's the thing that inspires us, that gets us out of bed in the morning, that lights our fire, gets us going, that excites us and provides us with the greatest satisfaction when we pursue those things. And so this is sitting in the present environment. And with this, the sense that I'm getting is this idea of feeling like we have to be in competition because of the old belief that there's only going to be one way and there's only so many resources and there's only, it can only be done a certain way. And I mean, certainly there seems to be a lot of that kind of languaging happening in our culture right now, this sort of narrative about this one way. And I think the impression I'm getting is that it's creating a lot of conflict and resistance. And as we know, when you take someone's voice away, they don't go away. It just becomes a stopping point and creates a lot of resistance. And if we want to be healthy as a community, we need to realize that this diversity of perspectives is what's going to fire us and inspire us and allow us to bring the best that we have to offer and offer it to transform our world for the better, to make it more the way we want it to be. We don't have to be in conflict. But what we can do is use the different points of view as a launching pad, as a starting place to get the best possible solution for everyone. So this is, important in our creative process, in our moving forward here, to recognize that we don't need to be in competition with each other. We don't need to be in conflict with each other. What we need to do is come together and communicate and talk about what it is that we want and what our fears are, and find a way through, so we can, as I said, collaboratively create this amazing vision for the world that we want to live in. When we have that clarity, we'll be very strong and powerful. And the near future. So this card is, the name of the card is Ruin, and we've seen this one before as well. So this card, you see there's a mother, and she's a mother or a woman, and she's leaning over a child, and we don't know what's up with the child. The child is lying there. It could be ill, it could be hurt. We don't know if it's dead, but you see the energy coming down for the lightning bolt, and it's coming down into this woman, and we see adversity in the form of the swords coming towards her. So swords are about ideas and action. It's the realm of air, the mind. And in this card, we have, it's like energy coming through this woman to deal with and help this child. There's this sense of incoming energy. And again, we don't know what the story is, but considering the projection right now that we're looking at is about our collective vision, it may be, one interpretation that's coming to me is this idea of the feminine and the nurturing and this quality of caregiving, and but inspired. Again, this idea of nurturing and caregiving of the feminine, breathing new life, of caregiving a new world, and out of the ruin of where we've been, this movement forward into something different. I mean, you know, many of us would agree that the world that we're in right now is not the one that we're holding in our hearts. And so there will be changes needed. And how are we going to bring those changes about? And the sense that I'm getting here is we're going to need to be really kind. We're going to really need to tap into the feminine virtues of nurturing and kindness and care, collaboration, to really bring the qualities that we want forward and cultivate the future that we're wanting to see. So we've just ended a time of introspection, of discernment, of figuring out what it is that's important to us, where we want to go, and getting clear about our values. Again, this idea of discernment, of us personally figuring out who are we and what is our path forward. Unhooking a bit from the collective narrative. And it's really important that we do that, because we won't know who we are with that constant programming continually happening in our spaces. We need to take time away from that to reset, to reconnect with ourselves, and to discern what we want, so we can come back to the collective and bring our gifts, bring our best self forward. And this talks about us being in communication with each other and understanding that we all have something to bring. We're not in competition. We don't have to be in conflict, that we can collaboratively come together with our gifts, our discernments, our longings, and add it to the conversation, because collectively we will come up with a much, much better plan and vision and implementation if everyone is involved, than whether it's just a handful of people setting the agenda and deciding the fate of everyone. And this near future card, to recap, this idea that it will be challenging, that there's you know, sort of this adversity energy, this sort of what was existing is falling away, it's breaking down, and yet there's a lot of resistance, and for a lot of people it's familiar, it's reassuring, all of those things. And so of course any kind of change, any kind of transformation is going to require resilience on our part. Is going to require us to change how we're doing things and be open to something new. In the sense that I'm getting from this card is it's really going to call upon us, from us, the qualities of the feminine, of the nurturing, of the kindness, of the taking care of each other, of supporting each other into our best, and in supporting each other through this change and through this transformation, so that we all come through cared for, loved, supported. That's the world I think so many of us are longing for, is a world where we can all show up and share our gifts in this way, and and be of service from that deeper place, not just some superficial random thing that doesn't really matter. Okay, so now I would love to hear from you both. Let me see. Is that working?
It's wonderful. I can hear you now. Okay. Or you can hear me probably.
I can.
Yeah.
So Carolyn, do you have any thoughts about this or any questions, anything you would like to explore more?
You know, I'm just really in awe of each of those cards. To me seems super negative, and I'm really in awe of how you look for the positive in them. So it's really interesting for me, just judgment in the past, the near past, and then ruin in the near future, and then the present of competition. To me is this, wow, it's this dark underbelly, and you've shifted it into the light, and I appreciate that. I do see the shadow side. I see that shadow side. I really, in each of those cards, I see the shadow in human beings.
Yes, there is that potential.
Yeah.
There is that potential. And I think that's where attention goes is where energy is going to flow. And so we as individuals always have choice when we're in our now, when we're in our present moment. We're always choosing how we are responding to life. And so when we can stay consciously in our present moment, we're much more resilient. When things come, we can decide and understand that anything that appears as adversity is an opportunity. And so we can choose to go with the appearance and the adversity and fall in the hole and see it as a negative, or we can understand that it's an opportunity to clarify what our preferences are and then turn in the direction of what it is that we would prefer to see happen. We always have that choice. And I think that's super important for us to remember right now. That's Eckhart Tolle's work, The Power of Now. This idea, just breathe yourself back into the present moment. I was reading, it's Lao Tzu who's saying, depression is you're looking to the past, and anxiety is you're looking to the future. You're not in the now, I think is the quote. But this idea that both aspects are always there. There's always the dark and the light, but it's important to stay, if we want to see what we want to see in our hearts, if we want to create or co-create with life, it's so important for us to stay focused on what are we being called towards? What are we inspired by? What fills us with joy and inspiration and enthusiasm, and point our boats towards that, because we can't feel bad enough to change anything, really. Sitting in the wallow place, I mean, yes, it's natural for us to have emotions, but not to get hooked by them. Recognize they're there, and then as much as possible, turn and pivot, give our energy to what we're wanting to create. And support each other in having that resilient attitude as well, because it's so important. We're all going to have our moments. We're all going to have our down days. We're all going to feel overwhelmed. And if we can be there for each other, kindly holding each other in a good way, inspiring each other, I really believe that we can pull through this in a really powerful way.
That's beautiful. And so when we take it to the present moment, it's about focusing on that competition card. And for me, it's about stepping out of it.
Right.
Just don't enter into that. That's what sucks the life energy out, is because in the competition place, there's this feeling of lack rather than a feeling of abundance.
That's good.
And so it's about moving the sails in a sailboat, moving the sails out of the wind of the competition. Just let it blow by and move with the flow, go in my own direction or go in our own direction without this press of compete. in
Mm.
whatever arena it is, whether it's airtime, whether it's, I don't know, whatever it is for what we have on the planet, for the resources, for love, for someone to listen to us, for whatever it is, just step out and step into the abundance and let that shadow side, that competitive side, just breathe and observe it rather than be in it.
Mm. I think that's the trick to it all, isn't it? Breathe and observe rather than being in it. And when we find ourselves in it, just being kind and compassionate and realizing, oh, there I am.
There I am again.
Exactly. And going, all right, it's all
Yeah.
good. You know, I fell in the hole and I'm choosing differently, you know, from this moment on.
Yeah.
But yes, it's interesting, this idea of it's very Tai Chi, isn't it? It's sort of that flowing with the energy rather than creating resistance and pushing against
Yes.
and standing
Yes.
with your fists and shouting no at something. It's like, okay. And, you know,
Yeah.
as one of my teachers likes to say, you know, if you went to a buffet, you wouldn't stand there and shout at the things you didn't like on the buffet. You just wouldn't put them on your plate. And I love
I
that because
love that. Oh
isn't
my
that
gosh.
awesome?
Oh, it's wonderful. That's so beautiful. I
So
love it.
that little reframe about life, right? Life is a buffet, and that diversity is a wonderful thing. And
Oh
if you don't
yeah.
like something, don't waste your life
Yeah.
for shouting no at it. Turn
Right.
towards what you want.
Ah, thank
Mhm.
you. Oh my goodness. I love that. Yeah.
My pleasure. Yeah, got to share the good ones. How about you, Vera? Where are you at?
Hi, Titania. I so appreciate being here. And hi, Carolyn. It's lovely to be part of this group.
Yes.
Um, it's incredible. Today, competition came up in my mind. So to see that a competition card is pulled is incredible, because I was thinking about competition and how I've always run from it and how unnecessary I feel it is in many areas. Competition within my own gender, competition with all of us, because there's enough for everyone. I always feel we live in an abundant universe, and if there was more connection and compassion and less competition, that we would be better off in general as as humanity. And it was so exciting to hear when you spoke about the present moment. I've been with Eckhart Tolle for a little bit, and for so long, I have, you know, the present moment was mentioned. Everybody talked about the present moment, and I could never understand it until in the last few weeks. I now have embodied it. I know that what happened a second ago, a minute ago, is really irrelevant. You know, no matter what mistake is being made, that and to go projecting into the future is totally not necessary, because nobody can predict the future or be in the future.
Yeah.
So it's like a huge freedom, this feeling to be in the present moment and to operate from an abundant mindset in the present moment. It's totally been freeing for me, and I just love that whole thing about the present moment. And I love when you pull the card as well about the reset, Titania, because I've noticed how important it is, from not in any selfish way, but to take care of oneself. And in doing so, if my energy is clear and is well taken care of, then no matter how I interact with another person, they will feel the benefit, like almost like a healing capacity that I hope that makes sense. Does that make
Absolutely.
sense? But
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, so that if I'm showing up whole and clear and, you know, vibrating at a higher frequency, that I have the power even if it's simply interacting with a stranger or picking up a child or whatever it is, whatever, or standing on a stage, like no matter what the interaction is, that the ripple effect is is important. So it's important to take that reset from a personal point, in order to show up, to do better in the world, to serve in a better way.
That's
Yeah.
lovely. That's lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. This idea that it's
Uh-huh.
freeing, isn't it? When we live in a, when we're together in the world with other people who are in integrity with themselves and living congruently within themselves, they discern what's
Mm-hmm.
important. It's so freeing for us as individuals to be around people like that. We all know people that we just love to be with because they're just so accepting of us, but it's because they've accepted themselves. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
that is such a gift that we can give to ourselves, first of all, but that it's really the gift that keeps giving, because we're able then to pass that on to everyone else. And isn't the world a better place when we can all just be who we are and and be okay with it? That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I love your discernment about the power of now and being in the present moment. And it is hugely freeing, isn't it? This idea that right here, right now is where we are.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you can bring your energy back to this moment and make choices in this
Yes.
moment. And that way it's
Yeah.
that's what I always understood karma was, is it's from this present moment, the laying down of your intention for your future based on your current choices right here, right now. And
Mm-hmm.
that's that
Mm-hmm.
beauty of that discernment of being able to be here now. So when you know who you are in the moment of the present now, you're really
Mm-hmm.
able to just craft that life in a good way, making those congruent decisions
Mm-hmm.
from here. That's great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, do either of you want to turn over any more cards on this or get more clarity about this particular first spread, or do we want to move on to other questions?
More questions is good with me,
Okay.
if Carolyn is good. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I guess she's. So let's go to your question, Vera. Do you have a question that
Oh,
you want to
sorry.
explore?
I haven't one that jumps to mind, but
Well, that's okay, because
yeah, yes,
we can go into, as I said before, if we pull cards for the three of us on the call today, that
yes.
we're looking at where are we supported, or what do we need to know that supports us, and what do we need to know that's an obstacle to us right now in crafting our vision and pulling that into our lives. Understanding again this idea that we are each a small part of the collective, and so it's all related. That's what I'd like to do next, if you guys are up for that.
Sure.
Okay, so Vera, why don't we start with you, since
Okay.
you're already unmuted. And so we'll pull a card
Mm-hmm.
for your, what is supportive of your greater vision and what potential obstacles there are to your vision as well. So let's do, what do you want first, support or obstacle?
Oh, support is good.
Okay, support
Please.
and obstacle.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Interesting to me how these cards keep coming up in the readings over the weeks. So passage, this is supportive of you. So if you look, the people in the boat have just been through a big storm, and they've lost their sail, and they are just going with the flow. They have no way of steering the boat, so they're just going, trusting the flow of life, that it's bringing them to where they need to be. There's a rainbow in the sky, which is of course that symbol of hope and of support. So here in the position of what is supportive of you right now is this idea of trust, of going with the flow, of really not worrying about steering the boat, but just seeing where the flow of life is bringing you. The name of the card is Passage. And then what you need to know about any obstacles to your vision. And this is interesting. Okay, so we have a major arcana, the High Priestess. And the High Priestess, I mean, there's lots and lots of layers to tarot cards, but one of the things that she represents is memory and the collective unconsciousness. She also represents the aspects of the feminine that our culture has more difficulty with, the empowered feminine that understands the secrets of life and death. And you see her hands are hidden at the top of her head and the base of her spine, sort of where the beginning and the ending of the chakra system in the body. So in this instance, this is sitting in a position of obstacle for you in terms of having your vision or accessing your vision. And to me, it speaks to giving yourself permission to step even more into your powerful feminine. As I said, this is the aspect of the feminine our culture has difficulties with. We all love the mother. The mother archetype is just, it's so clear that she's just beloved. But the powerful feminine, the High Priestess, she's the one who calls people on their stuff, doesn't matter who they are. She's not impressed with fools. She doesn't tolerate them. She calls things like it is. Some would call her a bitch, but she's simply a powerful woman who sees things truly and calls it. And so this, in the position of obstacle, speaks to me of owning this aspect of your feminine power, this aspect of your wisdom, your clarity, your power, standing in that more, trusting your intuition, learning to listen to that part of you that knows, the inner teacher, the wise part of you, the bigger, wiser part of you. You know, so to me, this is a possibility space for you in terms of creating the vision, creating what it is that you're wanting to have, is needing to pull some of that strength and that power and that wisdom in from this aspect of the feminine. Not giving up your femininity to hold your power, but doing it from a feminine perspective. Do these cards make any sense to you?
Totally, absolutely. That the one you're reading now is just really powerful. It's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah. And being, yeah, sorry.
No, please, you go ahead.
No, the previous one about the passage and how being in flow, it's such a gorgeous state, and you know, so much it can just happen when I've been in flow, when I can just it just reminds me that the universe is always for us and for me, and just synchronicities, things happen. So to be in that state is just so good, and so trusting, like that we are always taken care of by the universe. I really like that card. Yeah.
I love what you said too about how the universe is always working out for us. Like it is, and it takes a certain amount of faith and trust to get to that place, but really going with it and understanding that we'll be led. We are being led all the time. The information is always there. It's just whether we have eyes to see it. Yeah.
And for like I've found lately that I've so when you say that about, I've noticed that I quite in touch with being, my intuition is very much even as we're speaking, I can feel my crown chakra is so open. The pressure on my so I just would love to learn a little bit more all about that and how it's impacting. So there's lots to learn, I guess, what I'm saying. Yeah.
Well, yeah. And that's it, right? Life is a journey. It's not the destination. I mean, and so what's exciting about this is the fact that you're open to it and willing to explore it and take it further and understand it more. And what I believe too is that we have access to wisdom if we're simply prepared to still ourselves and be quiet and ask, and then allow the answers to come to us. You know, there's because when we're in life, having life experiences, we're continually having our desires drawn from us in a way. Like life happens, and as a result of things going on, we get clear about what's important to us, sometimes consciously, sometimes not, but we're continually expressing our preferences to the universe. And as a result of that, the universe matches those preferences. That's the law of attraction. And so your desire to perhaps understand this and integrate this more deeply into your experience right now is a pull to the universe to bring the answers towards you. And so I would just encourage you to keep your eyes open as you continue to move through your life. And you may find a book or a YouTube video or another thing comes your way that helps you to drop into this even more with more understanding and more clarity, and helps you to integrate it just that much more.
Yes, super. Yeah, it's lovely.
Good. Okay. Thank you so much, Vera, for your participation and your insights. I really valued them. Thank you.
It's beautiful to hear that, Vera. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Learning lots from just your experience. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Collective wisdom, it's a good thing. You know, it's so fun because we all hold different pieces. And when we come together and we share together, we're so much more than we are individually. I'm really getting this. This must be like my thing right now, because it's one of the pleasures of doing these readings with you both and with others in the past, is just the wisdom and the discernment that you each hold, and how you have so much to offer when we come together. It's wonderful. Okay, Carolyn, shall we do the same for you?
Sure. What? So can you tell me what I'm supposed to do again?
We're pulling cards.
Yeah.
Two. One on the idea of vision, your manifestation, your experience of vision. And so what is supportive of you right now in regards to that, and what is an obstacle right now to you in regards to that.
Okay.
So let's start with support and then obstacle. Which do you want first?
I support. Yeah.
Okay, so this card is reevaluation. It's Four of Hearts. Hearts have to do with emotions, with our inner landscape, if you will, of feelings. The card of reevaluation, if you look at it, this is a woman, and she's sitting apart from the world in a quiet place, and she's opened a box of treasures and she's going through them. And in the box of treasures are all these hearts, or all these lovely aspects of her experience. And she's deciding whether that's coming forward with her or not, whether these are important to her still or not. And you see she has the lotus on the crown and the top of her head, which indicates that she's in a coherent, enlightened state. Her crown chakra is activated, and she's coming at this reevaluation from a very high level. And so this is in the card of support for you in terms of your vision going forward. And again, I see how it ties into that previous reading of judgment or discernment of deciding what is you, what is important to you, what's precious, what's worth holding on to, what's worth bringing forward into your future. And so this is supportive of you, is taking this time or taking this opportunity to do this good work, to really give yourself permission to have this time of evaluation and allow yourself to do this tidying, if you will, of your inner space, your heart, your mind, and going through these treasures. And what will you keep and what will you let go of? I mean, I believe that these things sort of happen to us as we bump around in our daily lives, but to me this seems a little bit more intentional, where she's in a space apart, and she's doing this quite deliberately. Okay, and then does that seem complete to you?
Yes, it does. And yeah, it does. It's perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then obstacles to your vision. It's so interesting. You've just gotten 2 4s. Now, so 4s are very stable, right? They're the square. It's the material realm usually in sort of symbolism. So you have 2 4s. You have the 4 of Hearts, and then you have the 4 of Swords. And the name of the 4 Swords is seclusion. So it's like, don't stay too long there, right? It's important for you to do this work, but to get caught up in the seclusion or in being isolated is not necessarily to your benefit either, because this is sitting in your obstacle position, right?
Okay.
So, so you have a Buddha sitting in the midst of the four swords. It's a very even, grounded, peaceful, centered sort of place. And so it's really important to draw on those strengths that you possess, but at the same time, not to dwell too much there. You need to be in the real world too, and bringing your gifts to the real world so that more others can benefit. Because if we spend all our time in this state of evaluation and meditation and contemplation, it's a wonderful thing, and I think the world could use a lot more of it. However, if it keeps us from being in the world and sharing with others and being an inspiration to each other, then that's when it can be, I would suggest, perhaps problematic. It's really important. Don't get me wrong. It's very important. And it provides a grounding for you. You know, this idea of four, it's very solid, very grounded and important. And understanding that there needs to be a balance as well.
Great. Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah. I had a specific event that's coming up in my mind, and so that's great information around both of those things. Thank you.
My pleasure. Okay, now if you guys are up for it, I'm going to pull some cards from me.
Okay.
And for those who are matched to me, and then I'm going to give you the gist of the cards, and then you guys can perhaps offer your insights. You up for that?
Okay, sure.
Awesome. Love it. Okay, so what do I need to know about my vision? What is an obstacle and what is supportive? For bringing my vision to the world. So supportive and obstacle. Okay. So I have what is supportive is the card of disappointment, which is kind of interesting. And it's the 5 of Cups. And we see in the picture a young woman and a suitor in the background, and he's turned away and he's looking rather dejected. And you have 5 hearts in total. 3 of them are broken and 2 of them are whole. And so she's decided that this isn't what she wants completely. There's a lot of good there, but it isn't what she wants completely. And so she's made a decision, even though it's difficult, to turn away from that and to keep moving in the direction of what it is that she really wants. So this is sitting in what's supportive for me, which is interesting because I'm in the midst of considering a direction for my future, but I haven't found anything that really feels like a fit yet. And I've been fretting about it this week. But a good friend reminded me that if it's not time to make a decision, then nothing will be clear. So that speaks to me of this, in the state of supportiveness, even though you would think disappointment wouldn't be terribly supportive, that it's okay. Or that feels reassuring. Anyway, do you guys have any thoughts for me?
And are you waiting on the answers? Is that how it works, Titania, in relation to something specific or several things? A clarity. Does that make, no, I'm not asking the question properly.
I guess well, with my situation is I'm thinking about, as I said, an environment where I want to continue learning. And I haven't found an environment that is a yes. When I look at the different programs and I look at what's out there, I'm conflicted. I'm disappointed. It's not what I want, and I'm feeling like maybe I am going to have to compromise what I'm looking for.
Maybe the disappointments that are just now are saying that maybe tomorrow, the next day, the actual one you're looking for will appear, so this is
so stay open,
leading up, perhaps.
So stay open, maybe. Don't compromise, like the story tells us in the card. I like that.
And
sorry.
And if you, and coming back to the being in the present moment, I guess letting the disappointment go of like recognizing it, that you are disappointed, and but recognizing it and more an acceptance of it, that the universe has got universe's timing, and when you get really clear on what you want, the universe's timing will open up to that.
Nice.
But we don't know in what way it's going to come. We don't know in what way it's going to come. So it's about just being open that you have so much to offer. That when you put out what you really, really want, it will unfold for you. Maybe not in the way that you expect it to. So that disappointment's okay, because when we can close doors, we really see other doors. We really do step through them.
Right. Right. That's really helpful. Thank you both. That's great. And it's interesting too, thinking about it collectively too, because I think all of these can be applied collectively. Sort of the disappointment about life, right? About where we are, and when you're hearing rumbles about this, that, or the other thing, and thinking, really, are we really going back to that? Are we really thinking about doing that again? But holding space for those whole hearts, holding space for what we know is possible, holding space for that in ourselves, and continuing to move that forward in life, not giving up on our dreams, not giving up on that vision of what we know could be for all of us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, obstacles. Ooh, indecision. That's pretty clear. I love that. Pretty straightforward.
They're so matched.
Oh, I love it. So, she's just standing there so still. And you have the different possibilities coming at her, and it's sort of, can't move, right? But yet there's this inspiration coming down through the top of the head when we're still and we relax. The decision will be made when it's time to make the decision. So this is awesome. And again, that idea collectively too about us, even though it's a chance for us to, maybe it's not time to start making decisions yet. Maybe it's still time to be open and dream the dreams.
It takes me back to the original 3 that were put out, with the competition being in the middle again.
Right.
And just that disappointment, the indecision, the competition, to me all comes from the same sort of place of it depends on the mindset, right? About this is my only chance, or this is a mindset of lack, or that there's others in a hierarchy, that there's some that are rising to the top, like cream or something like that, that there's, rather than this abundance of life, and then it's about that card, the ruin card. But when you focus on that mother holding her child and being cared for and supported, then if you can be cared for and supported through your indecision, and just know that the universe is holding you through your indecision, that the decision to stay in the present moment and be open to what's being offered to you is different than the indecision. So if the obstacle is the indecision, then it's a new decision. What's the new decision that you can make?
Right.
Yes.
I love that.
And about seeing, when I think of that, I think of the disappointment card as, where was I? I had it and I blanked. Vera, go ahead. Whatever you want to say. And I'll come back to it.
Yeah, no, I love how you've spoken about abundance quite a bit, Carolyn, and I love the word. Recently, I just find it's a beautiful word. So yes, it's incredible that that all the things are being taken away, but to sit in the stillness for however long and the right answer will come is powerful. It's often so difficult to be patient enough to sit in that time, that space of waiting, but yeah, it's true though that it when I can do so, it's much more clearer. So I guess that's what's happening for all around, is there's a clearing taking place, even in nature, even the things that we can now hear, hearing the birds sing, seeing the tree, being more noticing. It's just um, it's just being patient in the time of the stillness. When I see that card, it's what it reminds me a little bit of. Yeah.
That's good. Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So interesting.
Yeah.
So do we have anything else? Or
And
go ahead.
Yeah. And I was back to the thing about the disappointment and bringing it again to our other cards. That if we can remember that if you look back on your lives and the things that didn't go right, that and so what was it why did you have to go through that in order to be as resourced as you are right now? So we have to go through fear in order to grow our courage muscle. We have to go through really difficult decisions in order to find wisdom, that we do have wisdom inside us, because we had to make difficult decisions. So there's something, whatever it is about the disappointment, it is supportive of you. So looking at it from, there's something even better coming up. And that's why the disappointment is, whatever you're disappointed in, it's because there's something even better coming along, or whatever it is that you had to give up, whatever it is that you had to let go of the disappointing thing, then you were growing that in an evolutionary you were doing the evolution of your own consciousness in order to, it's necessary.
Yes.
Whatever it is that you're disappointed in, it's necessary for the next step of your evolution of your own consciousness.
That's great. It's true, isn't it? I mean, it's true. We come through life and we have our bumps and our scrapes, and as a result of it, we refine. We're continually refining ourselves and our wanting, and we craft a better life because we have that refinement, even though it's hard in the moment. We're more because of it. That's beautiful. Good stuff. Well, my friends, do we feel complete?
Thank you. Yes, thank
you.
You.
Very good.
So I'll just close with a prayer. And if you guys just want to stay on the line, I'll end the recording at that point. Creator, this is your daughter Titania, and I'm here with your daughter Carolyn and Vera, and I want to thank you for your presence and support and clarity, and to all those who've been here helping to hold the space. Thank you. We give thanks for being here, being able to do this work. I ask that we all be inspired and hold our visions ever more truly and well, and live into our visions, and help each other to live more fully into our individual and collective vision. Help us to be discerning and wise in what is appropriate for us, so that we can live more authentically and congruently, make better choices in our now from that resourceful, resilient, clear, powerful place. And as a result of being clearings for that, we can allow each other to be more connected within, more grounded, more present in the moment, and have a whole planet full of people living from that wonderful, congruent, discerning point of power in the now. That is an exciting vision to me. From there, I know that we will attract all the solutions that we are seeking to clean this world up, to create systems to feed and house and support all of us into our well-being and our greatest expression of the highest aspect of ourselves. Thank you both for helping to hold this space today, for bringing through wonderful, wonderful information. Blessings on all those who are listening to the call in the future. We are all walking together. Let's do it. Lots of love. The reading is at an end.
Thanks to